Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday's edition of SportsMemo's MLB Full Count Show. I am Jeff Michaels, or you guys may know me as JM Sports, and I am back in the host chair today, joined by some familiar faces and some busy names today. Dr. Chuck and Eric Pauly, as always, a pleasure to have you guys with us today. How's the afternoon treating you since I've seen you guys last? Dr. Chuck?
Pretty good. We just, Eric and I both just finished SportsMemo today with Dan Alexander and ran a little bit behind. So we're a little bit behind on this full count, but we're going to get some winners to you because luckily it's Tuesday. So all the games are late. Nothing's pressing extremely. So let's try and sweep the board again. That's what we do on Tuesdays when it's us.
Yeah, of course. Eric, long time no see. How's the afternoon been for you?
It's been going well. Like Dr. Chuck just mentioned, we just got off another show for SportsMemo talking purely football. Now it's time to talk purely baseball on the Full Count Show. Very excited for it. And it's grind season. We all know football is here, and I couldn't be happier personally.
Oh, yeah, definitely exciting. Looking forward to this weekend. And, as Dr. Chuck mentioned, it is Tuesday. Not only does Tuesday mean we're bringing the three of us to you here on the Full Count Show, but Tuesday also means that $2 Tuesday. Heck of a deal over at SportsMemo. You got Cajun Sports, Tim Michael, and R&R Totals all over there for $2 each, or you get that 3-pack for $5. Heck of a deal, hard to beat. And Tuesday, get as many winners as you can. Why not go check them out after the show for sure? But, as the guys mentioned, they did have a busy one today. And if you didn't already know that, then that definitely means you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel. Sorry, can't talk. So if you guys don't know already, you hit that subscribe and you hit that like button every time we go live, every time something gets posted. You guys get the notifications so you don't miss any of that crucial, critical information. You're getting the three of us for the second time today. You're getting those two guys for the third time today. So something to go check out. Hit that subscribe and check out that SportsMemo today. And you can check out our first family video from earlier. But as far as this show goes, guys, we got 3 roundtable games, all 3 divisional matchups for you today. And we're looking at game 1 as Philly and Miami face off today. Philly's the big favorite. They're sitting at minus 222 at the last time I checked. And the total on this game, 7, coming up from the 6.5. I was surprised to see that there's only 2 teams today that are bringing in a higher percentage of money. That's Arizona and Baltimore. Outside of that, Miami's bringing in 85% of the money today on the market. And the NL East is just one of 2 divisions in baseball that currently have more than one team that's eliminated from this divisional race. Philadelphia sits in 3rd right now, but they're 11.5 games back of the Mets. They still find themselves in the 2nd wild card spot behind Atlanta, but they're tied with San Diego. Miami is basically out of the picture. It's 17.5 games back of the wild card, but they got their lefty, Jesus Luzardo, on the mound today. Miami's lost 7 straight, but Philly isn't doing that much better, losing 6 of the last 7. And today they head back to Philadelphia, where they've won 5 straight games against lefties. But after a 9-1 run at home against the division, they've won just 1 out of their last 5. Wrong time to go cold, but let's see what Eric Pauly's got to say on this matchup. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so looking at this game, I mean, the Marlins, they are 1-9 in their last 10, and their team has a 168 batting average over that course. So that doesn't emphasize how bad the Marlins offense has been. I don't know what else will. You can take a look also at them going under their team total of 3 or 2.5 over the last month or so. It's been really embarrassing at this Miami Marlins offense and their inability to not only just manufacture runs, but even get on base during this time. It's been their Achilles heel all season long. But looking at their matchup, I'm a big fan of Jesus Luzardo, and he'll make the start for Miami tonight in Philly. Through 12 starts this year, he's 3-6 with a 3.44 ERA, a 3.02 FIP, and a 1.04 WHIP. In his last 2 starts, he's been really good. He's allowed 5 runs on 9 hits and 13 innings of work. And something interesting enough is that most of his innings pitched this season have been on the road, and he's been better on the road this year. In 39 innings on the road this year, he has a 2.54 ERA, a 1.29 batting average against, kind of looking like his team's batting average, a 2.86 FIP, and a 0.87 WHIP, which is great. But looking at kind of despite how good Luzardo has been on the road this year, the Marlins cannot seem to put together any wins. They're 2-5 straight up in his road starts. And looking at the Phillies, I mean, they're still in this race. They have that tie in the wild card. They look like a long shot for the NL East, and I do not think they could go back and win that division. But they have righty Aaron Nola, their ace, on the hill tonight, and he has a 3.43 ERA, a 2.71 FIP, and a .97 WHIP in 26 starts so far. This will be the third time he faced the Marlins this year, and he shut them down both times he's faced them. Miami has combined just 10 hits in 2 outings against Nola this season. But at home, his ERA bumps up to a 4.04. His FIP bumps up to a 3.43, and his WHIP actually goes down a little bit to a .95. Just looking at these matchups of these teams, I'm going to take a small flyer on the Marlins on that run line, plus 1.5, minus 115. Miami is 45-39 covering the run line as an underdog this year, while the Phillies are just 40-50 covering the spread as a favorite. I don't expect a lot of runs. I expect the Marlins to keep this game relatively close. I'm going to take them on the run line tonight.
I like that. Yeah, that's not very often that you see 2 starting pitchers that have the home and away splits like that actually benefit the side of the away pitcher, like you mentioned in Luzardo. So, Dr. Shaw, what are you looking at tonight in this Phillies Marlins game?
I love that angle that he just took because it's awesome to get a home team run line, divisional foe. You know, you get that run and a half, you lose by 1, you're still cashing. You know, I know Eric hit a big one on the Rangers last week where, you know, it looked like it was doomsday, 8-3 in the 8th, and he.
Ooh, looks like maybe we lost Dr. Chuck.
Yeah,
we froze.
I was on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember.
The Rangers on the run line. Minus 1.5. They're up 8-3 heading into the bottom of the 8th inning. And I actually saw it was 8-5 going to the 9th. I thought it said final on ESPN. So I texted Chuck. I was like, wow, that's great. I'm very excited. Hit a nice 10-unit play for my clients. And then I realized that the game is still going. Next thing you know, the Red Sox have bases loaded, tie game in the bottom of the 9th inning with the opportunity to, you know, send a home run over the fence and crush my run line hopes. Thankfully for me, though, the Red Sox got a couple of pretty cheap, not cheap singles because they were, of course, hits, but they were not long blasts to ruin my hopes of catching a 10-unit play. The Red Sox ended up winning 9-8, but you have that plus 1.5 for a reason. So I actually won that 9.5-9. So that was very exciting that Chuck was alluding to. Unfortunately, we are going to roll without him shortly. So Jeff, what are you looking at on this game?
You know, I agree. I'll toss it in there. I think it's crazy that with the difference that you get in this game, and like you said, that Luzardo Nola split is impressive when you look at somebody that it benefits the road team on both sides, looking at how they do on home and the road. So I do like that 1.5 advantage that you got with Miami on that one. But we'll swing over to game number 2 and see if we can get Dr. Chuck back in here at some point. But hey, look, ask it, I shall receive.
Sorry.
Welcome back.
I have no idea what happened there. I also have no idea how much you guys heard about my adoring the Jesus. But
we finished your thought. We did hear you allude to Eric's play, and we reminded back to the idea that the 1.5 run that the home team benefited him in that situation without question. So you can pick up there if you'd like. We didn't quite jump over to game number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So just finish a quick thought. You know, bagels. There's a lot of bagels in this game. The scoreboard operator is going to be able to play a lot of Candy Crush on his phone, and there's not going to be a whole lot going on here. It's just simply the fact that, you know, I would trust the Phillies more on offense. Eric brought it up. The Marlins do this every season. It's kind of a bummer. Their pitching is phenomenal. They hit bad to start, they hit worse in the middle, and they hit abysmally to finish seasons underdone in baseball. And I think it's a 4.3 ceiling. I think that's a big ceiling. And I think getting the fact that it went up from 6.5 to 7 is just a crazy bargain. First 5 under, you're probably getting a full 3. Full game under, you're getting a full 7. I think both these guys go into the 7th inning at the worst case scenario with minimal pitches and lots of outs.
I like it. So it looks like we're taking a look at that run line. We're taking a look at that total too. And Eric mentioned team total too. So lots of opportunity on this game, even if there isn't a lot of opportunity for Miami to continue to improve on the season. But, excuse me, game number 2, guys, another divisional matchup today, another exciting one. Dodgers are taking on the Giants. LA's a minus 310 favorite at the moment. We got a total of 8.5. Comes out of the NL West, and the third place Giants bring their 65-68 record to Los Angeles to take on the division leaders. San Fran 7.5 games back in the wild card, and now they're only a half game ahead of Arizona. There is some questions about the pitcher. I did see John Brebbia for the Giants, but I can't confirm that with MLB or anything there. That was just something I saw on one of my sites. But the Dodgers do have lefty Tyler Anderson on the mound. And the Giants come into this game on a 4-game winning streak. They swept Philly. They took the opener yesterday. But the Dodgers have only lost 1 game this season with Tyler Anderson starts on the mound at home. So, Dr. Chuck, floor is yours. What are you looking at for the Dodgers-Giants matchup tonight?
Well, you don't need to know a whole lot about either of these teams if you just look at what I assume most public bettors look at. First off, they know at least a little bit about the Dodgers. They can name more of the Dodgers players, and they know that they're just a winning team. I don't think you need to know a whole lot more than the fact that you look yesterday, last night, maybe you didn't see the end of the game, they lost the game. Tonight they come in bigger favorite. They only have lost once with Tyler Anderson. That's part of it. Part of it is just the name on the jersey, the fact that they could be $3 favorites, and it doesn't even matter if the Giants have listed a starter. If it is Brebbia, which I think is what I saw as well, but I mean, it could probably change. You may want, if you're really convicted on playing a side or total in this game, you may want to do action, because I don't have the exact numbers in front of me right now. Eric Pauly will back me up on this. Off of a loss, the Dodgers are unbelievable. And it's a situation where you could even take them maybe on the team total. I have no way. I am not a fan of thinking that a team is $3 favorite, and so I'll just lay the 1.5 on a home team, et cetera, et cetera. The Giants do this as well. I brought up the Marlins. They just this is how their seasons go, and this is how the Giants' seasons go, which was a lot of what my future was about. I still have a little bit of skin in this game because we have Astros to have the best record in the league. So I would love for the Giants, despite probably crashing that ticket that we have on them to make the playoffs, being toast, they could still help us out with the other one here as the Astros continue to win. I have no way of figuring out how to back the Dodgers in this, because I would hate for the Giants, who have the ability to beat the Dodgers. That is one of the teams, it hasn't been great this season, but last season there was a reason they finished with a better record. I can't lay $3 on Tyler Anderson. There's a lot of good ways to attack Tyler Anderson against this lineup. Like I said, if you really want to play the Dodgers, I guess you play the run line, and I guess you play action to make sure that you can get it in case the Dodgers come back like normal and win 8-2. But I think the only way to go would probably look for something crazy like Dodgers or like Giants plus 2.5, which is probably like $1.20.
Yeah, there could be some value there. You mentioned it. Those alternate run lines could give you a little bit of value at some point when you're looking at numbers like that. I did look. Dodgers, no parameters other than Dodgers off a loss, are 26-15 on the year. So they're 11 games above 500 in this situation. But Eric Pauly, what do you got to add to that one for you on that Dodgers-Giants game?
Yeah, so Chuck kind of stole my thunder there, because what I was looking at is on the Giants on the run line plus 2.5, and that's at minus 115. Chuck said minus 120, right in the ballpark as always, but it is actually minus 115. Like Chuck just mentioned, I mean, of course the Dodgers and of course Jeff just gave you the statistics, but they're better off of a loss this season. I mean, a team with 90+ wins, they obviously don't lose way too frequently. They're 50 games over 500, on the season. But just looking at this offensive matchup, I mean, Tyler Anderson, of course, has been great this season, 13-3 on the win-loss record. And, of course, he's been amazing at home. But the Giants actually have the 12th best offense in the entire MLB this season against left-handed pitching. And while Anderson's kind of had a season for the ages for himself, I don't think that he's going to continue the success through the postseason, which is, of course, going to be important. The Giants don't have a lot to play for, But given just looking at it, and I think Jeff, of course, maybe doesn't have the time now, but can go into the SDQL and find the exact stats. But there have not been many instances already this season where a team is getting that extra one run to have a +2.5 on the run line this year. For example, I know the Mets and the Rockies, when DeGrom pitched at home against Colorado, that run line was 2.5, and the Mets ended up winning just 3-1. So obviously that 2.5 would have lost. So this is a matchup where Tyler Anderson, like Chuck was saying, should not be a 315 favorite by any means. And giving him that extra 1.5 for the opposition to cover that run line, so they have to win by 3 runs, I think is aggressive. I think there's just overall value on the Giants +2.5 today.
Yeah, that's a heck of a line to be able to get with that value there. But I mean, that is, like you mentioned, a normal run line. But, Eric, let me throw it back to you for one thing. They're 7.5. The Giants are 7.5 games back out of the wild card right now. In the last 2 seasons combined, granted, we're only 6 days into September at the time being, but they're 25-6 in September over the last 2 years combined. A little bit of a too little too late, as we saw last season. Do you think they're out of it, or you think they got a long shot to obviously they're out of the division, but potentially that 3rd wild card?
I think they're out of it simply because the teams that they are chasing are better than they are. Phillies are the closest thing to them, I would imagine, though they have that lead. I think the Padres are going to kind of get that offense cranking a little bit. Of course, they have a very good pitching staff, so I think this is an opportunity for San Diego to move closer to the Braves. Of course, they're not losing that wild card spot. And for all we know, that could be the Mets they're chasing in a couple of days, given how close that division is. But again, overall rosters, the Brewers, they struggle offensively, but they have the pitching staff. The Padres have the most complete team. However, they haven't been able to put it together. The Phillies are very, very much so one of those teams that you don't really want to see, because are they actually good is the question at hand. I think Milwaukee is better. I just think the teams they have above them are just overall more solid teams, and being under 500 at this point, I don't think that the Giants are going to make it to that 3rd wild card spot and have that playing game. The field in the NL is just too tough for them to really overcome, I think.
Yeah, I can't say yeah, go ahead. Go for it, Dr. Chuck.
The only thing I would add, and I don't know if you guys love this stuff or not, and we're all kinds of fans of bad teams, so you may be on this as well, but there's a website called Tankathon, and it keeps track of remaining strength of schedule. And it's not actually, I don't think it's the Phillies that are the closest. I may be obsessed. I'm sorry. I don't think it's the Phillies that are the closest to the Giants. I think it is the Brewers. And I've been saying all season, I didn't think that it would be the Cardinals. I thought it would be the Brewers. I've been saying all season, I thought the Central was a 1 playoff team or division. And while I don't know if it's possible, I think the Brewers have a pretty tough schedule left. I think they played 10 games against the Cardinals and the New York teams of their remaining 20-some games. And so it's possible they have a much better pitching staff. It's hard when you're throwing Burns and Woodruff and guys like that out there. But there's a glimmer of hope if the Giants have 13 games against the Diamondbacks and Rockies. Now, they would have to take care of business there. But, I like what they do in September. That was the whole reason I waited on that future. And, I'm still holding my breath a tiny bit.
And not trying to you get too far off topic here, but remaining on this game, I mean, the Brewers actually, you're right, they have the Cardinals, they have the Rockies, the Giants, the Reds, the Cardinals, Yankees, Mets. So that's, of course, going to be tough. Then they finished their season with the Reds, a 2-game set with St. Louis that could really be for most of the marbles. Then they end with Miami and Arizona. So does that give you any pause, Chuck, or it's more so just you really do believe in the Giants' ability to come together toward the end of the season?
No, I'll let anybody buy that ticket from me that is willing to buy that ticket from me. Honestly, no, I do not. But I did not expect what has happened the last 4 days to happen either. And so, Jeff brought it up. If they go out there and beat Tyler Anderson as well tonight, I think it'll be interesting for the books, mitigation-wise, what they're going to do with who's making the playoffs.
Yeah. And only a half game up on Arizona now. So that Arizona series against any team is a little more sneaky than you think it is. So, but guys, we got one more game on the round table. Let's take it back to the AL for this one. We're looking at the other powerhouse division, if we want to call it that, as Tampa Bay and Boston face off in the AL East. Tampa Bay is the favorite right now, even after the change pitcher, looking at minus 136 with Charbois on the mound. And Tampa Bay has their spot in the wild card currently, but Boston's holding on to their last breath of life. I think they're 9 games out of the wild card, and they're 14 and a half out of this division. But both teams have been hot. Boston's won 5 in a row before dropping the opener last night, and Tampa Bay's 6-1 in their last 7. And prior to that game streak, Boston took back-to-back games against Tampa Bay on August 26th and 27th. So pitching matchup looks like, obviously, as I mentioned, has changed, but Rich Hill is still on the mound. And Tampa Bay hasn't hit lefties particularly well, but they are 20-14 in games started by a left-handed pitcher. So, Dr. Chuck, what are you looking at in the AL East tonight? Boston, Tampa Bay, floor is yours.
Well, the Tampa Bay doesn't hit anybody well, and it's just the status of the team. Kevin Cash he does the best he can with what he's got. He's unbelievable at what he does. You mentioned it, they have the ability to just methodically and painfully and annoyingly win 4-3 games like they did with the Red Sox coming in hot. I don't even think it matters who pitches. You probably need, I said this at the very, very beginning of the season in Full Count, that if you are, Luis Patino got hurt, I think, in his first appearance. And if you're going to back Kevin Cash and you want to back the Rays and you're at home, you need to play action. You're going to get a lot of cancellations. You're going to get a lot of changes. If you play listed, you may not even know that you had a voided ticket. I would only be with an improved price. I would only be on the Rays here at home. I think it's amazing. Eric brought this up this morning and stood up to that Yankee fan, Joe D'Amico. This is wild stuff, guys. I mean, the Rays haven't struggled all that much recently and sloughed off that 2-game losing streak that they had against the Red Sox. And I think that they just have their eye on the prize. They're just like the tortoise with the Yankees trying to be the hare. And Eric said they're 100% in trouble. Yeah, I think that the only bigger fan of the Red Sox tonight than Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are Yankees fans, because Eric brought up the possibility the Yankees end up a wild card, and this is why. They're going to throw Chargois out there. We don't know a lot about him. It's going to be a bullpen game. They don't have a lot of offense, and they're probably going to win the game 4-2. And there's not a whole lot the Yankees can do about it, because that counts as a win. Aaron Judge is going to hit 65 home runs, and this team amazes me. I can't back the Red Sox no matter what they did because of yesterday. They have the ability to just fall off of the cliff when it's the Rays, and I think that happens tonight at the Trop tonight. And I don't know what Eric thinks, and I know that he's not excited to run to the window for the Red Sox, because when I floated the possibility of maybe betting on the Red Sox a little bit last week, he was like, no, it's Rangers, and I got my ass handed to me. So I would assume he's going to be a little bit more on the Rays as well, but I'm interested to hear what he thinks with Rich Hill on the mound again.
Yeah, it shows you a little bit of that back and forth and what the question on what they can do. Rich Hill has faced off against the Rays twice already this year, 11 innings pitched in 2 starts. He allowed 7 hits, had a 12-4 walk to strikeout ratio. He didn't allow a single earned run, and Boston only won one of those 2 games. So that's just what Tampa Bay can do. So
Bay does, yeah.
Eric, what are you looking at tonight over there?
Yeah, so when I did my write-up for this game this morning, of course, we had Rasmussen on the hill, and I saw the Tampa Bay Rays best price available was minus 154 at the time, and I was all over that. I had listed pitchers, so the fact that Rasmussen has been scratched, I was able to lose that ticket, which is a good thing for this particular situation because that money line has gone down to minus 135. But looking at this matchup, I mean, Rich Hill, he has actually been better at home this season. His FIP drops down to a 3.63. His batting average against is just a 2.27. His ERA goes down to a 3.44, and that WHIP drops to a 1.13. But Boston is still just 6-5 in Hill's road starts this season, despite him being a better pitcher. I think a lot of those, not questions, but points made about the Rays and their inability to really be like this high-powered offense, yet they still win games. I mean, they're 7-3 in their last 10. They're 45-24 at home, but covering the run line as a favorite. They're just 36 of 55. So they are known for those one-run wins all season long. But an angle I'd actually look toward this game, and this is not saying I'm backing the Red Sox in this matchup, but I would go for the Red Sox team total over 3.5. It is plus 100, so even odds on Pinnacle. I would look to make that bet just considering that the Red Sox, their strength of not only their team this past season, but over the course of the last really half decade has been their offense. And given that they just lost, they only scored 3 runs last night, but they put up 5, 5, 9, and 9 against the Rangers. Of course, they're going to be going against better pitchers. But Tampa Bay leads the season series 10-4, and this is a big reason why the Red Sox are not going to be playing postseason ball this year is because of their inability to beat teams like the Rays, the Blue Jays, and the Orioles. I think 3.5 is kind of a low number for a team total, but especially at plus 100 even odds and seeing where the market is. I mean, on Caesars, that team total is minus 118. On Pinnacle, it's plus 100. I'm going to go with the value on the over on the team total for a small wager here tonight. But I am a big fan of the Rays just winning that bet first and foremost. Again, I'm happy that bet got scratched because I would have lost value riding it without the listing pitchers. But I do definitely like Chuck's analysis that you have to make sure that when you're checking the box on not just these games, but all games, you have to make sure you're looking at action, meaning the game you'll have that price regardless of who's starting, or if you're tying it in boxed in with pitchers, meaning that if that pitcher has been removed from the start for whatever reason, they're no longer, that ticket is voided and no longer valid. So I lean the money line for the Rays, but for my better pick and best bet of this game, I would go for the Red Sox team total over 3.5 at even odds.
I like it. I did look for you too to see if it benefited you when I put the 155 line up there for you. When Tampa Bay is a favorite of 155 to 145, they're just 6-8. When they're a favorite of less than that, they're 17-10. So it really does benefit you. They got a noticeably better win percentage when you bump that favorite line down. Actually, they've lost more as a bigger favorite. So, hey, it really may have benefited you in that sense. But, guys, best bet, what everybody's been waiting for. We've had a lot of insight on these games today, and you guys have been busy, to say the least, today. So let's take it over to the best bet, guys. I'll give you two a break for a second. I'll let you guys take the back end, and I'll take the lead on this best bet. I'm looking at this LA Angels team to actually take down the Tigers tonight. You look at the Tigers splits against righties and lefties this season, and their numbers against right-handed pitchers are abysmal in comparison. They're hitting nearly 250. The Tigers are hitting 250 and putting up 4 runs per game against lefties, numbers that actually aren't bad. But against right-handed pitchers, the thing that's actually brought their team stats down for the season, they're hitting just 212 as a team, and they're just barely putting up 3 runs per game on average. Going back to last year, LA has won 5 of the last 7 meetings head-to-head, and the Angels are 7-3 in their last 10 games. It is a little bit of that too little too late, obviously, but they're putting up nearly 5 runs per game, and they're allowing just 2.9 runs over the span. Tigers have just won a single game in their last 7, and they've allowed their opponents to put up double-digit hits, over 2 of which on average have been home runs in that 7-game span. And the opponents are averaging over 7 runs per game. Not to mention that span has been a majority against the Angels and the Royals, 2 subpar teams, which it does include a series against Seattle. But Eduardo Rodriguez takes the mound for the Tigers tonight, and his team's just 1-4 in his 5 road starts this season. And Michael Mayers takes the mound for LA. Last time we saw Michael Mayers take the spotlight, he was wearing a Notre Dame jersey playing Ohio State at tight end last weekend. But no relation in this one. He's making just a 3rd appearance this season. He did have an impressive debut against Tampa. He allowed just 2 hits and no earned runs in 5 innings against the Rays. So he does have some potential. And over the last 5 seasons, you look at a team on the road that's between plus or minus 125 like Detroit that has struggled this year, putting up 4.4 runs or less, and they've had back-to-back runs where they've scored 2 or less runs. That trend continues, and they're 13-50 in the 3rd game to follow. So I don't think they can turn that around tonight, and I am liking LA to take down Detroit for my best bet. But let's see what the other two got. They've given you a couple free plays, I'm sure, today on the other shows. Eric Pauly, what do you got for this show to give to the viewers?
Yeah, so my best bet of the day, I am going with the Minnesota Twins on the run line at the New York Yankees. It's no secret that the Yankees have been one of the worst teams in baseball over the past couple of months. They've seen their lead in the AL East that at one point was double digits in Sharpie is now down to just 5 games. The Twins, they're one game out of the AL Central, but they're 6.5 games out of the wild card. So it's safe to say that tonight it's an important matchup for both teams. The Yankees this season are just 51-73 covering the run line as a favorite, which that number used to be very much so lopsided on the other way. But given the Yankees' struggles the last 2 months, it's come kind of back down to reality. Garrett Cole is making the start for the Yankees. He's 10-7 on the season, and he faced the Twins back in June, and he was absolutely rocked. It was his worst start of the year. He allowed 7 runs on 8 hits and was bounced before he could complete the 3rd inning. And Joe Ryan's going for the Twins tonight. The rookie is 10-7 on the year with a 3.88 ERA, a 1.14 WHIP, and a 4.27 FIP. He on the road this year, I mean, his splits are actually worse. His ERA, his slugging percentage against, his FIP, and his WHIP all bump up. But he has limited innings on the road this season. So I more so think that it's kind of not an anomaly per se, but I think that he is due for positive regression toward the mean and showing that he's actually a better pitcher than his road splits would tell you. The Yankees offense has been struggling, so I don't see them jumping over Ryan. This is a must-win game for both teams with 1 month left in the season. And given the fact that it is such a high game of high importance, I don't think that either team is going to get blown out. And I actually could see the Twins pulling off this upset. So getting that 1.5 for the road team, Minnesota Twins, I'm all over it. Twins run line plus 1.5. I got it at minus 135 this morning.
Yeah, you know, a couple of weeks ago, you never would have even thought a team could upset the Yankees a couple months ago, and now we're talking about a team like that's out of the wild card, that's fighting last breath for a division, could potentially pull an upset on the mighty New York Yankees. So, Dr. Chuck, what do you got for your best bet tonight over here?
I don't even need to make a big deal too much of it. It's the Braves on the run line. Kyle Wright is going. He goes against Cole Irvin. We've talked a lot about Cole Irvin, and he's kind of a A's under machine. They're at home tonight. A lot of red flags on this. First off, the size of the line, shouldn't it be bigger? Maybe it should be. Why is that the case? But if you look at the flip side of it, one of the things that really drew me to this line is 20 times the A's have been a non-divisional home dog this size, of less than being a $2 dog, and they're 5 and 15 on the run line at home here. Kyle Wright has been fantastic the last month. I like to look at all of the metrics and FIP and StatCast issues with both of the starters, and so I try to narrow it down to the previous month or so. That's 4 starts for each of them. Kyle Wright's been phenomenal with a 2 FIP, an ERA even lower if you like the ERA, whereas Cole Irvin, if you take out one start he had where he posted a negative FIP, he was facing, guess who? The Marlins. If you take that out, he's got about a 5 FIP over the previous month. These two teams are nowhere in the same galaxy as each other. Just need the Braves to win by a couple of runs. We were discussing the Dodgers and Braves, with respect to the Mets, are probably, other than the Astros, maybe the 3 best teams going right now. And why the Dodgers are $3 favorites, and we're all agreeing kind of to come together on the Giants getting 2.5 runs, and the Braves are not a whole lot more than normal vig to just win by 2, and so the value on that's immense. Take them to win. I think it's a run line coverage for about 70 to 80% of this game. They get after Cole Irvin, and Kyle Wright is not hit by this team. And I think we have a pretty low hanging apple of a run line here where we're getting all 9 at bats as well.
I like it, guys. Hey, we gave you plenty of free winners. They gave you plenty of free winners today. Guys, we are all finished here, but go check out SportsMemo. Check out that $2 Tuesday. Get Tim Michaels, get Cajun Sports, get R&R Totals, get all 3 of them. And then go check out these 2 guys over on SportsMemo's premium site too. I know they got stuff up and going, tennis action, baseball action, whatever it may be, you name it. But they're on 3 shows today for a reason. They know what they're doing. They know what's up. They gave you some free winners to cash in. But you can go cash in on some more winners that they got over on the premium site. But thanks for joining us, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.